Can you help me?
Mm-hmm.
Can you help me?
Absolutely.
I like to have a male volunteer as well. She has leadership presence, by the way, too. She has leadership presence. One male. Daryl. My guy. Can I get you to stand? Just a little back. Just a little further back. Can I get you to stand there? So, she is Miss Right. We just got finished talking about there's a right way and a wrong way and a more excellent way of doing everything that we do, right? Mm-hmm. She's Miss Right. Mr. Kip here is Mr. Wrong. For the sake of role play, I have found that Mr. Kemp went into a bank and he gave his Social Security number, which in return, they gave him an equity line of credit with the understanding that he was getting a business loan, which is the wrong thing to do based on what's consistent in the book and what it is that I'm getting ready to tell you. So now, he goes into the bank knowing one thing. When he go in, he's going in with a paper trail. They're asking him for tax information. Mm-hmm. They're asking him for bank information. They want to know where he lived for the last 20, 30 years. All right? In spite of all of that, he's able to get a loan. But he has an equity line of credit with the use of his Social Security number, where if he would have taken the opportunity to gain information, and to be in a position to take that information and collaborate the information, which would have given him resources where in return he can go into the bank and say, no, I don't have to give you my Social Security number. That's right. What I'm going to give you is my EIN number, and my EIN number is established to the point where you can go to the 3 credit bureaus that we just got finished talking about, Experian, Equifax, and Dun & Bradstreet, and see that my business is valid. Mm. But because he didn't have information, which leads to inspiration, that will ultimately lead you to the money gain, he gave his Social Security number to the bank. And he did not have to do that. He did not have to do that. So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to place Mr. Kemp in timeout. I'm going to place him in timeout. Now, I want you to understand that just because I place him in timeout, that doesn't mean that he's isolated. That doesn't mean that he's isolated. He's in timeout because now what I want him to do is I want him to observe, to do, and study the show. That's what I want him to do. I want him to observe, to do, and study the show. Because, see, the best way for him to learn and then to be able to take it to somebody else is for him to be able to see it. Why? Because he's a visual learner as well. And I know this to be so because he has entrepreneur DNA in him. So he's a visual learner. He may have some tendencies of an audio learner, but he's also a visual learner. And I know this to be a fact because I also know him as well. So hearing that, he's in timeout. But remember, he's not in timeout due to isolation. Because anytime we make a decision because of a lack of information, it gives us also an opportunity to reposition ourselves. And reposition ourselves towards the great, to something greater, is what we want to be able to do with that. So from time to time, I'm going to come and check on him to see where his growth is, to make certain that the momentum is still there, to make certain that the passion is still there for him. But for the meantime, not in isolation now, because we always can come back around to a more excellent way. So for the meantime, he's in timeout. I'm coming over to Miss Wright. Miss Wright, through collaboration and information, has what it needs in order to gain access to attractability and sustainability for her business and her life for the next 10 years. which means that through information, she has leadership presence. She has leadership presence. And with leadership presence is designed to inspire and motivate any and everything that come within 2 or 3 feet of her. And it's born on the inside because of the information that she has. And the information that she has does not lie. It can be verified. So when she walk in the room, unlike Mr. Kemp, who's in timeout, when she walk in the room, she knows she belongs. She knows she belongs, and there is no misunderstanding with that. And through leadership presence, she don't have to allow everybody to know that she's in the room. It's marked in her DNA because of the information that she has on the inside. Wow. Have you ever heard of that? They're saying this is something good on the inside, works on the outside. That's what she has. She has it. So now, with that, she's also a social catalyst, as well as a wealth catalyst, because she has information. And when people come to know her, they come to know her as a problem solver. Because she's a social catalyst. Because she's a wealth catalyst. Why? Because she took the time to gain information. Information that gave her attractability and sustainability for the next 5 to 10 years of her life. So nothing missing, nothing broken. Nothing missing, nothing broken in that regard. And because she has social capital, she's a social capitalist and a wealth capitalist, it put her in a position, unlike Mr. Kemp, it put her into a position to do what? Gain access to $10,000 in business credit with no personal guarantee and no credit check. Personal guarantee, this phrase, catchphrase here, personal guarantee just simply says this: I have money for my business and it's not liable to me as the person. So the liability is not on the person. The liability is on the business. Unlike Mr. Kemp, where the liability is on a person. Why? Because he went into the bank and he gave his social security number. So now, being that the guarantee, the personal guarantee, is not on you and you have $10,000, think about it. Would you rather have $10,000 and all of the heaviness is on the company, or would you rather have it on you? Because if someone has to come to try and sue you, given that Mr. Kemp gave his social security number, they're coming after him.
Right.
Well, guess what? All of that ain't even necessary. It ain't even necessary. And then, not only that, as a social capitalist, she received, because everything is built and attached to her EIN number and not her social security number. It's a difference, as Martin Lawrence would say, between love and hate. A thin line between love and hate. It's a majorly difference. And there's a scripture that says people perish for the lack of knowledge. But as it stands right now, she is a social capitalist and she's a wealth capitalist because of her ability to seek out information and collaborate and unify what she knows to be so. And when you know what you know, it can never be taken away from you. So now, her only responsibility now, knowing what she knows, is to spread the word. Yeah. Yeah. So either way, Mr. Kemp don't lose. He don't lose. The main thing that we have to do where Mr. Kemp is concerned is to circle back around to make sure he's still available. Because the definition of an entrepreneur on any level is the representation of an opportunity, and the best opportunity is availability. So the real question comes to be, are you available for the information to be transferred? And the conversion, believe it or not, does not come from a book, though we go to school to get the book, get the information. The conversion is in our mouth. The conversion is in your mouth. It's not in the book, because the book can give you contradictory stuff. Make you look like, well, what am I looking at here? What am I reading here? Where's all this? Where am I going with this? And so with that, considering that she has social connections as it relates to information, it gives her influence, and the kind of influence that can create excellence no matter where she goes. No matter where she goes. All she has to do is be available. That's all she has to do. That's all. She don't have to do nothing different than what she's doing now, because she now has leadership presence. She has it. All of the energy that she has, that I saw her come through the front with, all of that is due to inspire and motivate folks for it. So you have leadership presence in that regard. So now, if we circle back around to Mr. Kemp, with all that he's had, all that he's heard rather, it's decision time. Remember, he's not in timeout as relates to ISO. He's in timeout so that in return he can observe to do and study to show. That's why. So he now has a why. See, when he made the decision to go into the bank and give his social security number, in spite of the fact that he's an entrepreneur, he had a what and a how, but he didn't have a why. I don't care what the level of expertise is, who's running the organization. If the only thing they have is a what and a how, everybody know what they're going to do or how they're going to do it in some cases. But most companies are missing their why. So you have a what and a how. Yeah, you got that, I got that. But what is your why? What is the why as it relates to what you do? Now, I know for myself, as a child, I grew up in the house with my grandparents and my mother. And when I would do something out of character in their mind, they would ask me why I did it. And if my why wasn't strong enough, they said, you punish until you can tell me why. The problem with that was I'm an outside guy, so I like to be outside. So the next thing I started doing is trying to make up a lie so I can get outside. And little did I know that when I think back over the journey that I had with my grandparents, I have come to discover that if my why is not working for me, I could leave $20,000 on the table and walk away from it as if as though it never existed. So again, it's not what I say, but how I say it. It's not what I do, but how I do it. The fact that it's about how I say a thing can determine whether I walk away from the table with $50,000 or nothing in my pocket at all. But now that I have information, as the saying said, when I know better, I'm going to do better in that regard. So business credit and funding can be obtained with no personal guarantee, meaning all the heavy is not on the individual, it's on the business. And that's where your EIN number come into play at. Your EIN number come into play. You can get a personal credit check, all of that, and be awarded $10,000. And be awarded $10,000 just because you have the right information. Just because. You heard me say earlier to thank Pastor and Lady Hunt for being a connecting bridge for bringing us all together. The connecting bridge. So the connecting bridge brought us to a place where we're now conveying information. And the unfortunate thing about that I've come to learn about some emerging and seasoned entrepreneurs is that the information that they need that you would think to be priority for them is free. I've seen it where it is free. Now, of course, some information you got to pay for, of course. But there are things that, as it relates to this, that is free. It's free. It's free. So you say, well, why are you missing that boat? And what I discovered in particular, I'm going to look around first, about our people is that we will buy cars, we will buy houses, you know what I'm saying. We will buy cars, we will buy houses and all these things, but we won't pay for information. I have discovered that. A person would rather manipulate the information out of you than pay for it. They would rather manipulate it. And if you say the right thing with the right intentions, I may even give it to you. So the manipulation ain't even necessary. Who are you fooling? Because we already been down there and done that and all that type of stuff. And then you got to know who you're dealing with. I was talking to somebody just yesterday that I was coaching. And I had given him a break in certain areas as relates to payment. And he turned around and he says to me, he says, "Can I get a discount?" You don't want to pay for information. Can I get a discount? Wow. And I said to him, I said, "Do you love God?" I asked him that. "Do you love God?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Do you know God enough to say you love him, or is it just a thing for you?" He said, "I know him just to say I love him." I said, "Well, then in that case, with what it is that I've done for you already, you are wasting your time to marginalize God. You're wasting your time. You can't marginalize God. Because if God think enough of you to do something supernatural in your life and use a vessel to do it, you embrace that. You don't try to kill it. You don't try to kill it. Because obviously, God has graced you to be in front of the person from the get-go. He's graced you. So if I got grace, I got favor. So with what already been given to you, you haven't done nothing with that, but then you're going to ask for a discount. Now, I got up every day and went to school, stayed up to 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning preparing proposals and projects and things of that nature, but I had to go to school in order to be able to do that. So now I'm going to take my 80%, give it to you for your 20. No, that can't work like that. No. So what kind of discount am I going to give you?
You all can get to school, get to work.
Yeah. I'm the one who went to school for this. And then, you know, when I can tell you when I was in college.
That's good stuff.
When I was in college, the professor said this, and I never forgot it. He said, most people would go to Walmart, past Safeway, Giants, and all that to get the chicken because it's on sale. They pass all that. Get to Walmart, see the chicken, they got the chicken, it's on sale. They got what they wanted. Now, Walmart is crafty enough where they got an aisle that run from here, obviously, all the way out to the street with things, food, clothes, the whole 9 yards. Then when you get to the cashier, they have cookies, and all of that sort of thing waiting on you. Waiting on you. So now you done went past the Giants. You done went past the Safeway with little understanding, lack of knowledge once again, with little understanding that the money that you use for gas to go through all of that to get to the chicken, only to buy chicken and something else, you done defeated the whole purpose. So you don't even know what a discount is. You don't even know what a discount is. Pastor Lady Hunt, they don't even know what a discount is. So you went past all of that to arrive at getting some chicken that you could have got from Safeway and saved your gas. Somebody outside doing that right now. They pass Safeway and Giants. They get to Walmart to get something that they consider to be on sale, and got there and got chicken and something else. That's how I go. That's how I go. And Walmart is smart enough to know that if they put it all close together, we buy on impulse.
Right.
They said, sure, come on in. Yeah. You know, and it ain't just a thing with food with that type of place. They got clothes and all kinds of stuff. And, you know. Yeah, that's exactly right. One-stop shop. One-stop shop.
You get stuff from the clothes,
That's exactly right. And that's how they go with that, right? Thank you. I appreciate y'all. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. Yes, indeed. Thank you. You're very good. So, here once again, Jerome, the next one. Here once again, no personal guarantee and no credit check. No personal guarantee, no credit check. Of course, somewhere along the line, that's me. I don't know what my grandparents or my mother was thinking, but that's me. The next one, Jerome, please. All right, so here now. You are obviously familiar with consumer credit. We just got to, no, come back. Just for a little bit for me, please. Right there. Excuse me. You are obviously familiar with consumer credit. This is credit that is linked to linked to you personally by way of your Social Security number. We just got finished talking about that, right? And business credit, another type of available credit for business only. You have to be able to make the distinction. And again, with your personal credit, it has its own credit bureaus. With your business credit, it has its own credit bureaus. Okay? And it's not all reported the same. It's not reported the same. Okay? We just described that with the use of your credit card, that's 30% of your threshold level as it relates to your FICO score. So while some of my friends were charging their business to an equity line of credit, when also 30 to 35% of your debt to value ratio is related to your FICO score. Why they were doing it? Lack of information. Now, this didn't stop those business owners or friends of mine from having nice cars, having nice houses, and I mean good houses, and going on trips around the world. It didn't stop it. But at the end of the day, they were working against themselves rather than for themselves. And as an entrepreneur, you cannot be caught working against yourself, which is more the reason why, should I say, that we need to maintain a why. As I said, show me a company that has only a what and a how, and I'll tell you why they're in the red. Because we all know what to do, or what we're going to do, and in some cases know how, but we're missing the why. And if you miss the why, I will tell you, or if a company is missing a why, I will tell you that they're also missing organizational structure, which means that they're also missing, or they don't have organizational goals. They don't have it, which is the reason why you'll see some companies with 3 or 4 different languages. I walk into a company to consult with them, and I find that they don't have organizational structure, they don't have organizational goals, and the reason why they have 3 or 4 languages, and every policy in the building is being broken, and everybody elbow to elbow and all that type of thing, trying to get out the door at 5 up 4 when they get off at 4. You know what I'm saying? Everybody trying to get out because they miss leadership presence. And people don't care about how much you know until you show them how much you care. And that's on any level. But show me a company that do not possess organizational structure and organizational goals, and I will show you a company that's failing. They're failing, without a shadow of a doubt. So business credit isn't linked to you personally. We talked about that as it relates to the personal guarantee. It's not linked to you, so now I'm validating everything that I'm saying to you. Instead, it's linked to your business based on your EIN number, not your Social Security number. And a lot of people confuse the two. Believe me when I tell you, they confuse it. Because again, with the right information, I'm not going to work against myself. I'm going to work for myself, not against. Because if I got to work against myself, all I'm doing is exchanging hours for dollars. And as an entrepreneur, you need not be exchanging hours for dollars. You need to be getting paid what you're worth. And I can tell you with complete assurance that if, whether it's you or myself, that's working for somebody, they can't afford to pay you what you're worth. They can't afford to pay you what you're worth. No, indeed. What you're doing and what I would be doing is working to make them rich. But you can best believe if I'm working to make somebody rich, I'm around the corner making myself rich too. Because they can come to you and tell you after 20, 30 years on a job that you no longer want it.
Right. Right.
Which tells me what I've been thinking and saying for the last 10, 15 years is absolutely correct, which is don't get comfortable with what don't belong to you. No, 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 no. Because they have the ability and the reason, without even telling you what the reason is, that you are no longer wanted. And I have decided myself that I'm not going to be left out in the cold because of someone's inability to be transparent with me. And there is a such thing called leadership transparency. Next slide for us. So the benefits. Business credit benefits. EIN credit gives you a ton of benefits. It gives you a ton. All we have to do is gain access to the information. We have to have access, and we have to have capacity. You can build it quickly, get it approved for vendor credit right away, store credit within 90 days, and crash credit within 6 months. Cash credit within 6 months or less. Within 6 months or less. All we have to do is put ourselves in a position to get what's rightfully ours. Because the banker may not necessarily tell you that the money that you're borrowing through an equity line of credit is 30 to 35% of your FICO score. Because see, the way the bank stays in business is to give you money. Right. That's their thing. So they may not necessarily, or they don't have to be honest enough to tell you that what you're doing is going to work against you more than it is going to do for you. Because to them, you're just another consumer buying their money with a high interest rate. And they give you a credit card with no information to say that your limit on that credit card is 30 to 30% of your FICO score. Which again, you should, if it's a $1,000 limit, you shouldn't be spending no more than $365. So, but we have some people, even in the business realm or personal realm, who have credit cards at $1,000 and they're at $1,000. And what does that come from? Lack of information, mismanagement. And I look at money in three ways. I'll give you this. I look at money in three ways. Money is an exchange to a service, which means that I can go and sit in a restaurant, or we can go and sit, you and I can go sit in a restaurant, and a 5-star restaurant, that is, Capital Grill, I prefer, downtown in the harbor.
Yes, sir. All right.
So we go there, and we're sitting, and we're having dinner. A means to an exchange. They don't ask for the money up front. They allow you to eat first. They allow you to do anything that you want to do first. But the mutual understanding is, before you leave, you pay the bill.
Right.
In. Well, I'm going to pay the bill off, I'm done. Figure I'll keep more money in and let more money go out. I'm just going to pay, I'm just done with it. I'm going to pay it off. In some sense, as it relates to your personal credit, that's working, that's good. But then there's another thing as it relates to your personal credit called credit usage.
Right. Yeah.
You see? Called credit usage. And then from a entrepreneurial standpoint, I look at money and say money is a byproduct of the value I supply. It's a byproduct of the value that you supply. And if you put yourself in a position the right way, we don't have to chase money because money will find you. It's called leadership presence, which is what she has. She has a good dose of it. She has a good dose of it. So leadership presence. So all of those things come into play as it relates to your personal life and your business life. Every last bit of it that we're talking about right now, it has something to do with your ability to grow and embrace your business as a lifestyle. Your business is a lifestyle. It's not a 9 to 5. No, it's a lifestyle. When I get up in the morning, I feel good about what I'm going to do. And nobody has to look for me as it relates to it because of the way that I feel about it. So whatever it is that excites you, keep it in front of you. That's something that I live by day and by night. If it's family, keep it in front of you. If it's your business, keep it in front of you. If it's your ministry, keep it in front of you. Keep it in front of you because it excites you. It infuses good times and happy times in you, and in return, you infuse good times and happy times in other people. It's called leadership presence is what it's called. And all of us have that, but at the same time, we have to know how to allocate that in certain settings and in certain situations. The next slide for us, Ron, please. No, wait a minute. Let me stop right there, It says here, it is not connected to your personal credit, so you can get approved without a credit check. You can get approved without a credit check. We talked about that earlier. So no credit inquiries, which are 10% of your FICO score as it relates to personal. 10%. So now my friends who are entrepreneurs, when I was writing the book, some of them had went to banks and they got multiple inquiries. With no idea that the inquiries were 10% of their FICO score in their personal. With no idea in that regard. So here it's telling us, no, you don't want to do that. Says it clear as day. So no credit inquiries, and it doesn't report to the consumer agencies, so your score won't be impacted by inquiries. Now here, once again, business credit has its own credit bureaus. We talked about that earlier. So it ain't got nothing to do with that, your personal credit. And the one thing you don't want to do as an entrepreneur is put your name out to be attacked in any kind of way by anybody when it don't have to be. Let them come after the brick and mortar. Oh, you can have that because I can go do another one of those. But my name is my name, and it's the name that I was born with, and it's the name I'm going to check out of here with. A friend of mine told me just the other day, says, Leroy, when we were born, we looked like our parents when we were born. Right? Then he says, when we die, you look like the decisions that you made. That put me on pause because there are some decisions that I made that I can't get back, and I'm saying I like to forget. You know what I'm saying? But he said, when you were born, you look like your parents, which is ideal. Reproduction after your own kind. But when you die, you look like the decisions that you made. And I know all my decisions wasn't good. I said, you got to talk about something else. You know, but he said, no, that's not just good for you, it's good for me too. So, you know, he wasn't out of the question with that. But he's a person that can tell me something like that because he's my coach. Next slide for Ms. Jerome. Okay. So here, per SBA, Small Business Association, business credit cards limits are 10 to 100 times that of personal credit, which means that I get more. If I just have information, I get more. I get more, and all of it is attached to my company. It is not attached to my name. Because we've already made the distinction between personal credit and business credit. We've already done that. So now all I'm doing is taking you through the process to validate everything that I'm telling you. That's all I'm doing up here, right? So then it says also means you can have personal credit cards at stores. So you can have the same thing. You can have the same thing with no one checking your personal credit. No one. And guess what? I can tell you, with 21 years of experience in working in the finance industry in some kind of way or another, what I'm telling you is the truth. It's the truth. It's law. And law, in some settings, in some situations, don't lie. It depends on who you're dealing with, right? And you won't need collateral, cash flow, or finances to get credit cards. Where if you go into a bank right now, I can assure you that they're asking you for collateral, they're asking you for bank statements, credit statements, all of that stuff, they're asking you for that. They want you to give them the kitchen sink to get $10,000. And then if you're green, if you're new, they may even tell you that, hey, no, wait a minute, you're going to have to be in business for at least 3 years. Then come back. But by that point, I don't want to come back to you. 3 years, a lot of things didn't happen. So you're fired. You're fired. You know, I believe that, you know, you dress and you approach every moment in your life as though you own it. Make them get ready for you, because you are the lender and not the borrower. Next slide for us, Jerome. All right. All lenders look at your business credit to determine your approval for business loans. And anybody who wants to can easily and cheaply look at your business credit, including your client. Why? Because it's a matter of public record. Mm-hmm. Nothing hidden, nothing broken. Mm-hmm. Your prospects, even your competitors. Dun & Bradstreet makes that available to them. Experian and Equifax makes it available to them. We're talking about business credit. We're not talking about personal credit. That's out of the window. There's a more excellent way. Remember, there is a right way, a wrong way, and a more excellent way of doing everything that we do. Bottom line. We just need to have information. Next slide, please. I feel my spirit jumping here. I don't know. When done properly, you can build business credit with no personal guarantee. Once again, the liability is not on you. It's on your company. You know, as a friend of mine would say, why put yourself in front of a Mack truck to get hit? No, we don't want to do that, and we're not. So you aren't liable for the business debt. You aren't liable for it. Your company is liable for it. So they might come after somebody, but it won't be you, and it won't be me neither. And I know it ain't going to be me, because when I know better, I'm going to do better. Is that right? All right. Having business credit also increases the value of your business, making it easier to sell when the time comes. I have a client down in Tampa, Florida, who sold his business, and we established business credit and funding for him, and he earned a total of $20,000 because he had business credit. So he rolled it over into the sale of the price, Daryl, is what he did. He rolled it over into the sale of the price and walked away with an additional $20,000. Just like that. He had information. He had information. Lady Hunt. Most importantly, every highly successful business in the United States has business credit. Donald Trump ain't using his Social Security number for nothing. That's why they can't find his taxes. No. He ain't using his Social Security number. He said, man, if y'all ain't know me by now, you will never know me. That's what he said. If you ain't know me by now, you will never know me. That Trump said that many times, trust me. Even, and I wasn't even there, but I know his language. Next slide for us, Jerome. Says here, business credit benefits. Says here, business credit and benefits. You do not have to be big to get business credit. But you do have to have business credit to get big. So it don't matter the size of your company. It don't matter the size of your company. It don't matter the location of your company. It don't matter the location of your church, your organization, or whatever the case may be. It don't matter. The question is, are you available? That's the question. Are you available is the question. And I'd much rather see, in particular, my people, not just be recognition rich and information poor. I want you to get in and get all of it. Every last bit of it. Why? Because it's due you. It's due you. I told a friend of mine, I want stuff that my grandparents was denied of. I don't even know what they were denied of, but I want it. The next slide, please. All right? You can start building a consumer or business credit profile at banks or in stores. So you have some of the same benefits and capabilities. It's just that it's all tied into your EIN number and not your social security number, right? If you go into a bank and apply with no credit, they'll turn you down.
Right.
So yeah, you got to go do 3 years. At that point, I ain't coming back to you. For 3 years, a lot of things can happen. In 3 years, I ain't got time for that. You either give it to me or you're not, or if you don't, I'm coming back and I'm going to sell you what it is that I have, so you're going to be on punishment. That's the way I look at that. I've learned to look at it like that, trust me. But if you go into either with a well-established credit profile, you'll get approved. The friends that I have that are entrepreneurs that I talk to as it relates to writing their book, you know, they didn't have a well-established credit profile, but they had businesses. They had business, and like I said, when we did the example, Daryl, I didn't put him in timeout to isolate him. I put him in timeout so that he can observe, to do, and study to show, so that in return, he can become a master at leveraging money, time, and opportunities in relationships. Because I can tell you, as a people, if you don't learn the art of mastering money, time, opportunity, and relationships, it will be impossible for you to gain access to attractability and sustainability for your business. Because, believe it or not, whether we like it or not, and everybody we may not like, but at the same time, people make the world go round. Remember the song, People Make the World Go Round? Yeah, people make the world go round in that regard. So here now, the key is not to apply until you have credit built. Don't go in the bank and give them your social security number. Please don't do that, please. If you do, I'm going to come back, and Pastor Hunt, Lady Hunt, and I, we're going to sit down and have a conversation with you. Don't do that, because you don't have to. You don't have to. All you have to do is commit to the process. And new habits are formed through process. Success does not necessarily come to those just because we take an action step. Because there are a whole lot of things that I've taken action steps on that I failed. But what I've come to learn is that new habits are formed through process. And my success is determined by the habits that I acquire, not by the actions that I take in that regard. I'm going to run out of time, right? All right. So, any questions before we move forward? Am I good?
Questions, yes.
Okay, Q&A. All right.
Real quick, like, I know when I apply for my business credit, they put you in a scare tactic. Like, if you don't put your social down, you miss a chance of getting it. You know, they kind of give you the scare tactic. And then you feel like, you put your social, you give the EI, and they want both. So how you get over not doing both, but they actually both of them. And it's sometimes it won't go through without yours.
Mm-hmm.
But I attained it.
Mhm.
I have them, but I had to put mine. And I felt like maybe it was my first ones.
Mhm.
But after that, I know you're not supposed to, you shouldn't have to.
Right.
But some of them, they kind of put you in a trick bag where you have to, or else it won't go through.
All right. Here's what I need you to do. I need you to commit to saying no. Commit to saying no because you know better. And when we know better, we do better. Commit to saying no and take on the responsibility of using your EIN number only. Because here once again, if you have information and you take the necessary steps, which means that you've taken the responsibility, right, to do it the right way. Because it's a right way, a wrong way, and a more excellent way. We just got finished talking about that. If you tell them no, they ain't got nowhere to go. So now, what you want to be able to do when you use your EIN number to get that loan or what have you, you want to go through the steps of building the credit first. Because we've already seen that if you build it first, then go to the bank, they're going to give you what you asked for. Right? And so, cling to the process. Because once you do that, You can't be denied. You can go and say, hey, you can pull my credit report. You can pull it from Experian, Equifax, and Dun & Bradstreet. And that will validate my existence as an entrepreneur. Why? Because it's tied into my EIN number. My EIN number ain't lie because the tax revenue gave it to me. And you got a problem with that? Go to them. That's how that go. Go to them.
What is EIN?
Your EIN number is more like your social security number, but it's attached to your business.
Employee identification.
Yeah, employee, yeah, that's exactly right. So it's something that they can identify you by your taxes, as relates to your taxes, rather. Because no matter what, we still got to pay Uncle Sam, right? Daryl, hey, you was up first. I'm sorry.
If you're a new startup business, just to piggyback off the question the young lady asked right there, and trying to get that established credit, rather it's through a bank or a vendor or something of that nature, and they require that you do put in your personal, of course, be a personal representative of or personal guarantor
Right.
of that product that you're trying to obtain, or that loan, or that credit line that you're trying to obtain.
Right.
Is there a article under the Fair Credit Act or something like that that you can refer back to that says, look, if you're in violation of this, this is what I'm entitled to, or something of that nature?
Well, it's not necessarily an article per se that gives some insight as relates to whether or not you should be doing it or not. It can be looked upon as a thing that says that when I know better, I have what I have, and this is what I'm getting. And if I say no, then that's what it is.